Aquaman, Arthur Curry, is a fictional superhero appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics. Created by Norris and Mort Weisinger, the character debuted in Morphin Comics number 73, November 1941. Initially a backup feature in DC's anthology titles, Aquaman later starred in several volumes of a solo comic book series. During the late 1950s and 1960s superhero revival period known as the Silver Age, he was a founding member of the Justice League. In the 1990s modern age, writers interpreted Aquaman's character more seriously, with storylines depicting the weight of his role as King of Atlantis. The character's original 1960s animated appearances left a lasting impression, making Aquaman widely recognized in popular culture and one of the world's most recognized superheroes. Jokes about his wholesome, weak portrayal of super friends and perceived feeble powers and abilities have been staples of comedy programs and stand-up routines, leading DC at several times to attempt to make the character edgier or more powerful in comic books. Modern comic book depictions have attempted to reconcile these various aspects of his public perception, with many versions often casting Aquaman as serious and brooding, saddled with an ill reputation, and struggling to find a true role and purpose beyond his public side as a deposed king and a fallen hero. Aquaman has been featured in several adaptations, first appearing in animated form in the 1967 The Superman, Aquaman Hour of Adventure, and then in the related Super Friends program. Since then he has appeared in various animated productions, including prominent roles in the 2000 series Justice League and Justice League Unlimited and Batman, The Brave and the Bold, as well as several DC Universe animated original movies. Actor Alan Ritchson also portrayed the character in the live-action television show Smallville. In the DC Extended Universe, actor Jason Momoa portrays the character in the films Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, Justice League, and Aquaman. Aquaman's pre-crisis publication history spans many titles and anthologies, and can be difficult to follow. Aquaman's appearances began in Morphin Comics number 73, and continued until issue number 107. All superhero features would be replaced with humor features by issue number 108. At this time, Aquaman began his first run in Adventure Comics, lasting from issue number 103 to issue number 282. A 4-issue run in Showcase followed. These Showcase issues are notable as Aquaman's first cover appearances in any comic. Soon after this, Aquaman began his first solo series, which would last 56 issues in its initial run. After a 3-year hiatus, Aquaman returned to Adventure Comics for 15 issues, number 435, number 437 and number 441, number 452. At this point, his new solo series began at number 57, continuing the numbering from the initial run, and ended after 7 issues with number 63. Aquaman once again returned to Adventure Comics as part of the Dollar Comics revamp of the series. When this ended, Aquaman appeared in 3 issues of World's Finest Comics, number 262 to 264, and then returned to Adventure Comics for 4 more issues, number 475, number 478. The feature found a new home in Action Comics for 14 issues, number 517, number 520, number 527, number 530, number 536, number 540, which would be the end of Aquaman's pre-crisis solo appearances. Post-crisis, Aquaman's next solo titles were 2 miniseries and 2 story must start with my father, a famous undersea explorer. If I spoke his name, you would recognize it. My mother died when I was a baby, and he turned to his work of solving the ocean's secrets. His greatest discovery was an ancient city, in the depths where no other diver had ever penetrated. My father believed it was the lost kingdom of Atlantis. He made himself a watertight home in one of the palaces and lived there, studying the records and devices of the race's marvelous wisdom. From the books and record, he learned ways of teaching me to live under the ocean, drawing oxygen from the water and using all the power of the sea to make me wonderfully strong and swift. By training in 100 scientific secrets, I became what you see, a human being who lives and thrives under the water. In his early Golden Age appearances, Aquaman can breathe underwater and control fish and other underwater life for up to a minute. Initially, he was depicted as speaking to sea creatures in their own language rather than telepathically, and only when they were close enough to hear him. Within a 20 yards, 18 meters, radius, Aquaman's adventures took place all across the world, and his base was a wrecked fishing boat kept underwater, in which he lived. 11. During his wartime adventures, most of Aquaman's foes were Nazi U-boat commanders and various Axis villains from when he once worked with the All-Star Squadron. The rest of his adventures in the 1940s and 1950s had him dealing with various sea-based criminals, including modern-day pirates such as his longtime arch-enemy Blackjack, as well as various threats to aquatic life, shipping lanes, and sailors. Aquaman's last appearance in Mort Comics was in issue number 106, before being moved along with Superboy and Green Arrow to Adventure Comics, starting with issue number 103 in 1946. Aquaman's adventures continued to be published in Adventure Comics through the 1940s and 1950s, as one of the few superheroes to last through the 1950s in continuous publication. Starting in the late 1950s, new elements to Aquaman's backstory were introduced, with various new supporting characters added and several adjustments made to the character, his origins, his powers, and persona. The first of these elements was the story Aquaman's Undersea Partner in Adventure Comics number 229, October 1956, where his octopus sidekick, Papa, was first introduced. This and subsequent elements were later removed or altered from the Aquaman character after the establishment of DC's multiverse in the 1960s, attributed to the Aquaman of Earth 1. The Silver Age Aquaman made his first appearance in Adventure Comics number 260, May 1959. In it and subsequent Silver Age comics, it was revealed that Aquaman was Arthur Curry, the son of Tom Curry, a lighthouse keeper, in Atlanta, the water-breathing outcast from the lost, underwater city of Atlantis. Due to his heritage, Aquaman discovers as a youth that he possesses various superhuman abilities, including the powers of surviving underwater, communication with sea life, and tremendous swimming prowess. Eventually, Arthur decided to use his talents to become the defender of the Earth's oceans. It was later revealed that he had, in his youth, adventured as Aquaboy and on one occasion, met Superboy, Earth's only other publicly active superpowered hero at the time. When Arthur grew up, he called himself Aquaman. It was later revealed that after Atlantis' death, Tom Curry met and married an ordinary human woman and had a son named Orm Curry, Aquaman's half-brother. Orm grew up as a troubled youth in the shadow of his brother, who constantly bailed him out of trouble in the home. He grew to hate Aquaman not only for the powers that he could never possess but also because he believed that their father would always favor Aquaman. Orm disappeared after becoming an amnesiac and would resurface years later as Aquaman's nemesis, Ocean Master. Aquaman's ability to talk with fish eventually expanded to full-fledged telepathic communication with sea creatures even from the great distances. He also retroactively developed a specific weakness akin to Superman's vulnerability to kryptonite or Green Lantern's vulnerability to the color yellow. Aquaman had to come into contact with water at least once per hour, or he would die. Prior to this story, Aquaman could exist both in and out of water indefinitely. Aquaman was included in the Justice League of America comic book series, appearing with the team in their very first adventure, and was also a founding member of the team. Aquaman took part in most of the 1960s submerged fictional city of New Venice, 18, which became Aquaman's base of operations for a time. Aquaman is recognized as the son of Atlanta and is later voted to be the king after the death of the former regent, who has no heirs. By this time Aquaman had met Mera, a queen from a water-based dimension, and married her shortly after he became king. They soon have a son, Arthur Jr., nicknamed Aquaman. The 1960s series introduced other such arch-enemies as the Ocean Master, Aquaman's amnesiac half-brother Orm, Black Manta, the Fisherman, the Scavenger, and the terrorist organization known as OGRE. Other recurring members of the Aquaman cast introduced in this series include the well-meaning but annoying Quisp, the Water Sprite, Dr. Hilco, the trustworthy Atlantean scientist who became Aquaman's royal advisor and whom Aquaman eventually appoints to be king after leaving the throne himself, and Tula, known as Aquagirl, an Atlantean princess who was Aqualad's primary love interest. In the mid-1980s, after his own feature's demise, Aquaman is briefly made the leader of the Justice League of America. In the storyline in Justice League of America number 228 to 230, an invasion of Earth by a race of Martians occurs at a time when the core members are missing. Aquaman is thus forced to defend Earth with a league much depleted in power and capability, and he takes it upon himself to disband the Justice League altogether in Justice League of America Annual Number 2, 1984, thereafter reforming it with new bylaws requiring members to give full participation to the League's cases. With the help of veteran Justice League members Martian Manhunter, Zatanna, and Elongated Man, Aquaman recruits and trains 4 new and untried members, Gypsy, Vine, Vixen, and Steel, also relocating the team's headquarters to a reinforced bunker in Detroit, Michigan after the destruction of the JLA's satellite headquarters during the invasion. 31. Aquaman's participation in this new version of the Justice League ended in number 243, October 1985, when he resigns to work on his marriage with Mera. After the 1985 Crisis on Infinite Earths miniseries, several short miniseries were produced in the late 1980s and the early 1990s, beginning with 1986's 4-issue Aquaman, February to May 1986, written by Neil Cosmo, and featuring Aquaman in a new, largely deep-sea blue costume. The series was well received and a follow-up limited series was in the works, though it was eventually cancelled due to creative problems. This series also expanded on several details of the Silver Age Aquaman's origin as well as Aquaman's relationship with his half-brother, Ocean Master, whose origin was retold in more complete detail. The series also added mystical elements to Aquaman's mythology and reinvented Ocean Master as sorcerer. Aquaman reappeared in his blue costume in the Aquaman Special Number 1, 1988. In late 1988, the character appeared in the Invasion storyline, guest starring with the Doom Patrol, once again in his orange and green costume. In 1989, The Legend of Aquaman Special, officially titled as Aquaman Special Number 1 in the Comics League Indicia, the second special in back-to-back years, rewrote Aquaman's mythos and origin, though keeping most of his Silver Age history intact. The special was written by writer Robert Loren Fleming, with plots, breakdown art by Keith Giffen and full pencil art by artist Kurt Swan. This origin story of the modern age recounts that Aquaman is born as bride to Queen Atlanta and the mysterious wizard Adlan in the Atlantean city of Bozindus. As a baby, he was abandoned on Mercy Reef, which is above sea level at low tide, causing exposure to air which would be fatal to Atlanteans, because of his blonde hair, which was seen by the superstitious Atlanteans as a sign of a curse they called the Mark of Coriolis. The only individual who spoke up on Norris' behalf was Vilko, a scientist who had no patience for myth or superstition. While his pleas fell on deaf ears, Vilko would later become a close friend and advisor to the young Orin. As a feral child who raised himself in the wilds of the ocean with only sea creatures to keep him company, Orin was found and taken in by a lighthouse keeper named Arthur Curry, who named Orin Arthur Curry after himself. One day, Orin returns home and finds that his adoptive father has disappeared, so he sets off on his own. In his early teens, Orin ventures to the far north, where he meets and June to October 1989, by the same creative team of the 1989 special of Robert Loren Fleming, Keith Giffen, and Kurt Swan, which continued a few of the themes from the Legend of Aquaman special. Mort is eventually driven insane by grief over the death of Arthur Jr., and is committed to an asylum in Posidness. Shortly afterwards, an alien force conquers Atlantis. Arthur is forced to save the sea but is hampered by an escaped Mira, who personally blames Arthur for the death of their son. In a fit of rage, Mira leaves Aquaman's dimension. The publication of writer Peter David's The Atlantis Chronicles No. 1-7, March to September 1990, which tells the story of Atlantis from antediluvian times to Aquaman's birth, introduced the ancient Atlantean character Zarin, after whom Aquaman was named, and Edlin, who was revealed to be Aquaman's father. Another Aquaman ongoing series with creative team Sean McLaughlin and Ken Hooper, No. 1-13, thereafter ran from December 1991 to December 1992, which portrayed Aquaman reluctantly deciding to remain in Posidness as its protector once again. For a time, he serves as Atlantis' representative to the United Nations but always finds himself thrust back into the superhero role. Becoming more and more of a workaholic and solitary figure, Aquaman eventually returns to the oceans. He soon becomes tangled up in another attempt by Black Manta to destroy Atlantis by dragging it into a war with a surface nation. Peter David returned to the character in another limited series, Aquaman, Time and Tide, a 1993 to 1994 four-issue series which further explained Aquaman's origins, as he finally learns all about the history of his people through the Atlantis Chronicles, which are presented as historical texts passed down and updated through the centuries. Aquaman learns that his birth name was Zorin and that he and his enemy Ocean Master share the same father, an ancient Atlantean wizard named Atlan. This revelation sends Zorin into a bout of rage and depression, setting the stage for later confrontations between the two, as it is said in the chronicles that two brothers will also battle for control of Atlantis. This is in contrast to the Silver Age Aquaman, who had always known that the Ocean Master was his half-brother Orm, although Orm's amnesia prevented him from remembering that fact for some time. This series is credited by Kevin Melrose of Comic Book Resources with helping the character reach the height of his modern era popularity. Aquaman starred in his own series again with the publication of the 5th volume of Aquaman No. August 1994, initially scripted by Peter David, following up on his 1993 Time and Tide miniseries. This series was the longest running for the character, lasting until its 75th issue. David left the series after issue number 46, July 1998, after working on it for nearly 4 years. David began by giving Aquaman an entirely new look, forsaking his former clean-cut appearance. Following his discoveries reading the Atlantis Chronicles during Time and Tide, Aquaman withdraws from the world for a time. Garth finds him weeks later, with his hair and beard grown long, brooding in his cave. Aquaman loses his left hand when the madman Charybdis, attempting to force Arthur to show him how he can harness Arthur's ability to communicate with sea life, sticks Arthur's hand into a piranha-infested pool. This causes Aquaman to become somewhat unhinged, and he begins having prophetic dreams, and then, in need of a symbol, attaches a harpoon spearhead to his left arm in place of his missing hand. His classic orange shirt is shredded in a battle with Lobo, and rather than replace it, he goes shirtless for a while before donning a gladiatorial manica. After the destruction of the harpoon, Aquaman has it replaced with a cybernetic prosthetic from SDR Labs. This new harpoon has a retractable reel that he can fully control. A major storyline, culminating in number 25, concerns the 5 lost cities of Atlantis. Facing an unearthly invading species linked to the origin of the Atlanteans, Aquaman has to search out and unite the lost cities. This storyline establishes him as a warrior king of a major political power, ruling largely undisputed over all the Atlantean cities. The remainder of Peter David's run focused on Mort coming to terms with his genetic heritage and his role as a king. During this time he discovers the remnants of a sentient alien ship beneath Posidness and is able to take control of it, returning Posidness to the surface and bringing Atlantis into greater contact coup d'etat orchestrated by his son Cotriac and his advisor Volpo. His second harpoon is also destroyed, this time in a battle with Noble, king of the lurkers. He replaces it with a golden prosthetic hand developed by Atlantean scientists which can change shape at his command, thus retaining the powers of the harpoon but being more all-purpose. After a brief war with an island nation, Aquaman expands Atlantis' surface influence by annexing the country to Atlantis. Aquaman had no regular series of his own from 2001 to 2003, but his plot went through several developments via his cameo appearances in several other titles. Aquaman was a founding member of the reformed JLA and remained an active, if sometimes reluctant member of that team, until the Our Worlds at War storyline in 2001, shortly after the cancellation of Aquaman Volume 5, during which Aquaman and the city of Poseidon disappeared during a battle between Aquaman and an Imperix probe. The Justice League eventually found out that the city was still there, just magically shielded, but in ruins and apparently uninhabited. The Atlanteans were trapped in the ancient past, where Tempest had sent them as a last measure when it appeared that the city would be destroyed by the probe. There, however, they were enslapped by their own Atlantean ancestors, led by a powerful sorceress named Gamely, and Aquaman himself was transformed into living water and imprisoned in an ornamental pool. Over time, this civilization had collapsed until only Gamely herself, now immensely powerful, inhabited the ruins. After a few months of their time, the fully 15 years for the Atlanteans, the JLA free Aquaman in the Obsidian Age storyline in JLA. Although the original League is killed by Gamely, their souls are contained by the magician Man Raven to use in a spell to contain Gamely in Atlantis until the present day, when he is able to resurrect them. Aquaman is freed from his prison in a pool, and Zayden enhances his powers so that he can now control the entire ocean as a water ray. With this power, Aquaman is able to sever Gamely's connection to the city by sinking it under the sea again. While he fights Gamely, the League members return the modern Atlanteans to the present, where they can begin rebuilding the city, which is once again at the bottom of the sea. The sixth Aquaman series began shortly afterward, initially written by Rick Veitchwison to take Aquaman in a more mystical direction. Subsequent writers who contributed to the series include John Ostrander, Will Pfeiffer, Dave Williams, and John Arcudi. This series ran 57 issues, starting in December 2002, cover dated February 2003. Initially focusing on Aquaman's efforts to survive after he was exiled from Atlantis and the ocean, the theme of the storyline changed when Aquaman became involved after a sizable portion of San Diego sunk into the ocean. Over the next few months, it was discovered that the sinking was the work of a scientist who had acquired a sample of Aquaman's DNA. Believing that the human race as it currently existed would destroy Earth, he had sunk the city while using the sample he took from Aquaman to convert most of the residents into water breathers. Aquaman goes on to establish himself as the protector of San Diego, aided by new Aquagirl Lorena Marquez. Despite such problems as the human residents' poor reaction to being trapped underwater or Ocean Master's attempt to rewrite history so that he is Aquaman while Orin is Ocean Master. Starting with number 40, May 2006, following the events of the Infinite Crisis storyline, it was renamed Aquaman, Sword of Atlantis, which ended with issue number 57, October 2007. Following the 1 year later storyline, starting with Aquaman Volume 6, number 40, May 2006, the series was renamed Aquaman, Sword of Atlantis and taken in an entirely different direction by writer Kurt Butters. In this version, Aquaman is missing and presumed dead following the events of Infinite Crisis. A young man with aquatic powers by the name of Arthur Joseph Curry is summoned by the mysterious dweller in the depths to take up the mantle of Aquaman, but it gradually emerges that the dweller himself is Aquaman, having lost much of his memory and been strangely mutated while gaining magical powers. See the Arthur Joseph Curry section below. These changes are explained several San Diego inhabitants who had lost the ability to live in water. Using the bones of his severed left hand in a magical ritual, the sea gods give Orin the power to raise San Diego onto dry land. However, as a side effect of this, Orin mutates into the Dweller of the Depths, and loses his memories. The fate the Dweller foresees for Arthur Joseph Curry once they meet is revealed to really only be a confused memory of the Dweller's own past as Aquaman. In the midst of trying to help his successor, Arthur Joseph, the Dweller, Orin, is murdered by Norris. Upon the receipt of Orin's body, members of the Justice League of America, including Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, and the Flash, examine the body in Atlantis and wish the best for Mera and the new Aquaman. Orin seemingly reappears in Atlantis during the 2008 Final Crisis storyline to fend off the forces of Darkseid, but this Aquaman is revealed to be from another within the multiverse. The appearance of this Aquaman is later perceived by Hal Jordan and Barry Allen as an unsubstantiated rumor, since this person was never seen nor heard from again. Sometime between his death and the beginning of the 2008-09 Blackest Night storyline, Orin's body is moved and buried on land at Mercy Reef alongside Tom Curry in accordance with his final wishes. In Blackest Night #1, Garth returns to Atlantis and tells Orin's wife Mera that he is angry at the notion of Aquaman's body being buried on land. Mera relays to Tempest that Orin felt safe on land and that it is indeed what he wanted. Sometime later, a black power ring is seen entering Orin's brain, bidding him to rise. Aquaman's corpse rises, along with those of Tulin Dolphin as revenant members of the Black Lantern Corps, and demands that Mera reunite with him in death, offering her a chance to see her son again. Garth is killed and joins the Black Lanterns himself. Mera rejects the corpse before fleeing. In the climax of the miniseries, Aquaman is among those resurrected by the White Lantern entity, and is reunited with Mera. Because the Black Lantern ring helps reconstruct Orin's body, when he is resurrected his hand is restored as well. Aquaman and Mera spend the night together in the lighthouse of Amnesty Bay, but in the morning Mera finds Arthur on the dock looking at the sea and wondering why he was resurrected. Later, they intercept a pirate vessel but Aquaman finds that he can only call on Dead Sea Life to help him. While cleaning up an oil spill, Aquaman and Mera are attacked by soldiers from Mera's homeworld, led by Siren. Mera reveals that she was sent to kill him. She also hints that, despite the long-lasting exile of her people, Zebul's soldiers had been enemies of Black Manta himself from a distant time, even preceding the first public appearance of Aquaman, and states that, despite Mera's original mission being a solo one, Siren is now backed by the entire Death Squad, elite Zebul soldiers, at the orders of the acting princess. She later reveals that Siren is her younger sister. Aquaman is told by the White Lantern entity to find Jackson Hyde before a second, unidentified group does. Mera states that she knows who Hyde is, and after she tells Aquaman he leaves and rescues Jackson from a Zebul attack. It is revealed that Aquaman's Silver Age origin has been re-established and he is once again the half-human son of Tom Curry and an Atlantean queen. The entity subsequently reduces Aquaman to what appears to be white water. Aquaman is revealed to be one of the elementals, and was transformed by the entity to become the element of water and protect the Star City forest from the Dark Avatar, which appears to be the Black Lantern version of the Swamp Thing. After the Dark Avatar is defeated, Swamp Thing returns Aquaman to normal. Afterward, Aquaman is reunited with Mera, at which point he discovers that the Zebul's weapons were made of Atlantean technology. As part of the New 52, DC's 2011 relaunch of their entire superhero line, Jeff Johns, Ivan Reis and Joe Prado served as the initial creative team of the company's new Aquaman series, the first issue of which was released September 28, 2011. The three creators remained on the title for the first 16 issues. That subsequently leading to the first continuing, Aquaman-related crossover in years, Throne of Atlantis. The relaunched series cemented Aquaman's status as the half-human son of Tom Curry in Atlanta, and saw him return to Amnesty Bay with Mera. Greatly distressed by the harsh treatment given to the oceans during his time as ruler of Atlantis, Aquaman decides to abdicate the Atlantean throne and return to full-time Vostok X, an ex-army veteran called Prisoner of War, the Operative, and an Iranian called Kahina the Seer. All of the others have in their possession an enchanted relic from Atlantis. From 2014 to 2015, an independent Aquaman and the Others series was launched based on the success of these new characters. The 2015 Convergence storyline gave Aquaman a new look at issue number 41. In this story, he has been deposed from his throne by Mort, now Queen of Atlantis, who is now hunting him as a fugitive. Along the way, Arthur acquires some new powers and new equipment, giving him access to powerful mystical capabilities. It is later revealed that Atlantis is really being run by Siren, identical twin sister of Mort, whom she has taken prisoner. Following a company-wide rebranding and DC rebirth with one focused point to bring back legacy and relationships, Arthur finally proposes to Mort and DC Universe, Rebirth number 1. Aquaman was given an 8th volume of his eponymous series, which started with a one-shot comic book entitled Aquaman, Rebirth number 1, August 2016. This series kept writer Dan Abnett, who had taken over the title for the 3 last issues of the New 52 and who had previously written the character for a short time a decade earlier. The 8th volume of Aquaman focuses on Aquaman's role as king and diplomat, with Arthur attempting to strengthen Atlantis' surface relationships by opening an Atlantean embassy in Amnesty Bay, with Mort appointed as ambassador. The series largely focuses on the main cast featured in the New 52 series, consisting of Aquaman, Mort, and Black Manta, while also fleshing out forgotten side characters such as Lagoon Boy, Tula, Aquabra, Blackjack, and others. After the events of Drowned Earth, Arthur loses his memories. He finds himself living amongst an enclave of island dwellers making their home on unspoken water. Unbeknownst to him, however, this habitation is a place set within the sphere of the gods where forgotten deities go. Either way, after they perish, fade from their worshippers' memories or simply forget their role in service of the ocean's majesty. One such goddess, who was actually a primordial adept from before time, begrudgingly makes her home on a separate island adjacent to that of the divinity who betrayed her and her departed husband. Leela, whose real name is actually Mother Salt, has every intention of drowning the world in crime, with the intended consequence of killing everything that lives and breathes on it in revenge and to start over, remaking the universe in her own image. With the help of one of Nama's cast-off creatures, needed to regain her full power as well as aid from the forgotten gods, who is reawakened by Arthur/Andy's clarion call through the life force power, Aquaman is able to best the vengeful divine progenitor and scatter her essence across the cosmos, ending her threat for a time. And thanks to ridding them and quelling their mother's fury, the sea gods of the world and the newly revived Father Sea, the aforementioned life made of Mother Salt, give praise to Arthur for his valor and integrity. The sea gods awaken his dormant demigod abilities by bestowing upon him tribal tattoos, christening him a bastion of the high seas, while Father Sea himself retrieves Arthur/Andy's trident from the waters, bestowing it to him once more. Yearning to remember who he was, Arthur, Andy undergoes a ritual where he communes with another prime ocean entity known as Mother Shark, who, when asked to, restores Arthur's memories, wherein he realizes Mary killed him in a fit of rage because of his hesitation about hearing that he's going to become a father. Aquaman and the sea gods return to Amnesty Bay. The gods settle on Amnesty Island, in an abandoned lighthouse formerly occupied by Tristram Moore, a 19th century horror writer. Aquaman is called upon to bail Jackson Hyde out of jail, and Jackson appoints himself Aquaman's assistant. Along with Cully and Tula, the two fight a sea monster which mysteriously disappears when the new lamp in the restored lighthouse is destroyed. In Amnesty Bay, civilian named Ralph is killed during the fight, and at his funeral, Aquaman meets the resurrected Tristan Mort. In Justice League number 30, an unidentified man in a hooded cloak and mask is briefly shown lurking in the Hall of Justice, watching as the League brief an assemblage of superheroes of the current situation with the Legion of Doom. This mysterious figure is revealed to be Aquaman, who has allied himself with the Anti-Monitor against Lex Luthor and Perpetual. He is sent back in time to December 7, 1941, where he helps Flash, Green Lantern, and the Justice Society to fight must be transported to Atlantis. Aquaman and the other heroes transport the totality back to Atlantis, only to find it under the control of Vandal Savage and the Legionnaires Club, and that Poseidon has been enslapped by the Legion of Doom. He claims that, following his encounter with the Death Kraken, he was rescued by the Anti-Monitor and sent back to Earth with instructions to secure the fragment of the totality in the past. But inadvertently he landed on the island within the sphere of the gods, losing his members in the process. This appears to contradict the story of his death at Mort's hands. Aquaman's most widely recognized power is the telepathic ability to communicate with marine life, which he can summon from the great distances. He once stated that this power more relied on encouraging and compelling the subject rather than full control, citing piranha as a species he has trouble commanding under any circumstances due to their ruthlessness and hunger. Although this power is most often and most easily used on beings that live in the sea, Aquaman has at times demonstrated the ability to affect any being that lives upon the sea, for example, sea eagles, or even any being evolved from marine life, for example, humans and some aliens. For the 2011 DC continuity reboot, Aquaman's telepathy has been greatly downplayed, acknowledging that most marine life doesn't possess enough intelligence to carry a meaningful telepathic shoot jets of scalding or freezing water from it. Healing abilities: the ability to create portals into mystical dimensions that could act as spontaneous transport, control and negate magic, manipulate almost any body of water he sets his focuses on, and the capability to communicate with the Lady of the Lake through his magic water hand. His biological hand was restored when the character was resurrected in Blackest Night number 8. Various times in his life Aquaman has been transformed into a purely oceanic entity with power over all the seas of the world. This was usually temporary, as he would often revert to normal